Sprawl Zero is the upcoming prequel to 2023's Sprawl, the cyberpunk throwback shooter taking heavy inspiration from genre classics like Ghost in the Shell that dazzled players with its stylish slow-mo action and vividly bleak visuals. Once again crafted by developer Maeth, with Kwalee jumping on board as publisher, Sprawl Zero aims to throw players back into the sprawling walled city, this time in the steel boots of new character 5, rocking a fresh set of powers and plenty of violent tendencies. A demo for Sprawl Zero was released today on Steam, just ahead of this month's Steam Next Fest, and the publisher was kind enough to share it early with me. A big thank you to them. So today I'm going hands-on with Sprawl Zero to let you know my first impressions. And with that, let's fire up the bullet time and get our cyberpunk on. The demo starts off with a cinematic involving a council of lacy drives voting on what I assume are nefarious deeds.
As I expected, this council is now adjourned.
And soon after, you're briefed on your mission, with a host of objectives shown on your map, which you click through.
Penetrate the religious fanatic's stronghold. Leave no survivors.
Upon mission start, you'll be treated to your character, 5, futzing about with their gear, and getting an earful from a character who should be recognizable to fans of the first game.
All those fancy toys won't save you. Let's hope you don't run into her again.
And from there, you're taken through a brief tutorial sequence, hand-holding the player through the basics. Ooh, sorry. But once that tutorial ends, ooh boy does this game start cooking. So I gotta say, I think a lot of Sprawl fans are going to be surprised by this prequel in that it's a different sort of shooter compared to the first game. Case in point, parkour wall running is completely absent, at least in this demo, which is surprising as that was a central aspect of the first game. Mobility and fast movement are still a focus, but this time around the emphasis is more on strategic shooting through a repertoire of physics-bending tools and abilities. And I have to say, so far I feel it's making for a stronger experience all around. The first tool you play with are your gravity gloves, behaving similar to the gravity gun from Half-Life 2. You can pick up objects and chuck them at enemies, as well as pull apart loose walls. You also pull in new weapons with it, and my favorite, catching grenades in the air and throwing them right back. A big difference from the first Sprawl is that you can only carry one weapon at a time, and they're disposable. When you run out of ammo, you just throw it away, preferably at an enemy's face, and snatch up a new one. And if there's no new weapon to snatch up, there is a devastating melee punch that will liquefy foes. But it has a long windup which will leave you vulnerable, making it a last resort implement. Later on, you get the gravity shield, which collects bullets being shot at you and allows you to fire them right back. Typically, this won't eliminate enemies, but it will stun them, leaving them wide open for a follow-up attack. And of course, returning from the first game is good old-fashioned bullet time. It largely behaves the same, but a core difference this time around is that it causes your bullets to magnetize to enemies, giving you more edge in combat. Something I appreciate too is that it's not the central mechanic, but rather one piece of the pie meant to complement the other powers and vice versa. These abilities, when coupled with the poppy gunplay, make for some really enjoyable combat. Firefights are kinetic and bombastic, especially with objects flying about and bullets whizzing everywhere, whether it be from your guns or your own hand. There's certainly a nostalgic quality to the gameplay. It's hard not to be brought back to the mid-2000s era of Half-Life 2, where its gravity gun stole the show and pushed competing titles to borrow from it. But what made Sprawl Zero feel fresh in this demo, especially when compared to other retro-style shooters at the moment, is that the abilities felt just as important, if not more so, than the gunplay. You will always be in a state of manipulating the environment, whether it be for offense or defense, and really your guns are just finishing the job your powers started. And the fact that they are disposable and often don't come with a ton of ammo naturally puts you into positions where you will have to rely entirely on your powers to defeat enemies, which is really fun, especially as these powers start to feel second nature. And so far, it feels like the game is being smart about making the player feel capable and free with their powers, while also putting on some smart limitations to keep things challenging. For example, you can only use one ability at a time. You can't sprint while using them, you have to collect a certain amount of bullets with your gravity shield before you can fling them back, and all of them are governed by an adrenaline meter like in the last game. Although this time around, it replenishes over time rather than having to grab adrenaline pickups. But health pickups do replenish a little bit of it. A nice touch too is that getting kills with some of your abilities, particularly bullet time, allows adrenaline to replenish faster, allowing players to keep a consistent combat flow. And with this kinetic gameplay coupled with the beat-heavy soundtrack that frankly made me want to stand up and jump around like an idiot, creates a fun and infectious energy that brought me a lot of excitement. The sort of excitement I've always chased since watching the Matrix lobby shootout for the first time. A simpler way to phrase it is, this game is freaking cool. There were some small things that bumped me during gameplay. During combat, there's a mechanic where if you dispatch a particular enemy, they will highlight all surrounding enemies with a hologram, which more often than not is helpful, but there were a few times I found myself shooting at a highlighted enemy only to realize they were behind a wall or barrier, which was annoying. Along with that, with everything going on during combat, particle effects flying everywhere, explosions, enemies running around, it can be confusing to tell what's going on and get a good read on everything. Although perhaps that will be less of a problem the more hours I spend in the final game. Who knows? Also, this is something I honestly caught in editing, but when flinging stuff with the gravity glove, it locks onto enemies, and in a few instances, the lock-on would suddenly jump to someone else or tweak out, causing the object to go in the complete opposite direction of where I wanted it to go. This was very minor, and again, I didn't even realize it happened until editing, but probably worth some tweaking on the developer's part before the full launch. Before I wrap up, I should touch on the graphics a little since I've been going hard on the gameplay, but Sprawl Zero largely carries the graphical aesthetics of the first game. Once again depicting a stark, sun-bleached cityscape that is one foot in crunchy pixel retro, another in a sort of uncanny realism, resulting in a bleak, oppressive atmosphere that both repels and intrigues me. And so far, it is just as stunning as it was in the first game. Its yellow and brown tones did remind me a little of the dreaded piss filter era of the late 2000s, but the coloring here I think works well with the themes of the game so far, seeing as this is a decaying civilization and a stagnant human race. Overall, I came away from this demo really impressed. In fact, it bumped Sprawl Zero up to being one of my most anticipated shooters of the year. And FYI, I was not the biggest fan of the first game. I was pretty critical of it in my review a few years back and had some big issues with its gameplay. So the fact that this demo blew me away was a pleasant surprise. What I played feels like a huge improvement, and I feel the change in direction is making for a better experience. But of course, this is just a mere demo, a demo with only 2 levels, mind you. Whether or not the full game can keep this momentum is still a big question. But so far, things are looking real positive for Sprawl Zero. But hey, you don't have to take my word for it. Again, the demo is available today on Steam, so go check it out and let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends. It's a massive help with the algorithm and getting my videos seen by more people. I'm Kirk, and thank you for watching this video. Stay safe out there.